Thank you for listening to the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Please support the show by subscribing to and leaving a 5-star rating for the show on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podbean, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, and any of your favorite podcast platforms. You can also support the show by going to our website, blackandgoldhockey.com, where there's always exciting articles by the B&G writing staff. While you're there, don't forget to click on the fanatics.com banner for a great sports fan shopping experience.
Hey, you done yet? We gotta start the show.
Behind the net to Sanderson. Scores for the Boston Bruins.
30 seconds left in the period. The Bruins are shorthanded. Ray Bork from the face-off circle to the right of Ritchie Whitman. Fired it down, and Whitmore blew it.
Did he ever?
To Bergeron on the drive, save, rebound, he's loose. Sagan kicks him loose. Bergeron scores! Patrice Bergeron with the point of the dagger in their throats. They rip it out of Toronto's hands and kill the beast. The Boston Bruins have won it after being 3 down in the third.
Hey, Bruins fans, welcome back to the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. It is episode 218. We're recording on February 28th, 2021, and this episode is brought to you by betonline.ag. Please go to betonline.ag and use code CLNS50. I am your host, Mark Allred, and you can follow me right there. And this is my host, Heather Ingerson. Heather, what's up? And you can follow her right there. Fingers.
Yeah.
So, we are back for another week of Black and Gold Hockey Talk, and I don't know where to go with this. We're going through a speed bump with this Boston Bruins team right now, and it's just things are not clicking well, but I'm sure we will get into it. But bringing in Heather Ingerson. Heather, what's up?
Nothing, Mark. How was your week?
It was good. We're learning a new program here. We're on StreamYard now. We're not using Zoom anymore because I need to find convenience and I need to save time. And I feel that every time we were recording, I was setting up something that was completely unnecessary. So we looked at the technology, trying to figure stuff out to make the audio better, the video better, and more of a user-friendly platform. So I think that this is the thing that we got to do, and to gain more followers and listeners and viewers on our YouTube channel. So it's been a week, let me tell you. So trials and tribulations are going to be going through this, as we talked about previously in our recording. But we are excited to try to do a one-stop shop for our recording. So.
Here we are. Bear with us, people, on this first time out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why don't we just jump right in and talk about our show sponsor, betonline.ag. Betonline.ag is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Football might be over, but NBA, college basketball, and the NHL are in full swing. Betonline.ag even covers awards, TV shows, and reality TV. Real-time updated odds and props on almost anything you can imagine. BetOnline.ag has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's free to sign up. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. Get in the action, folks. Don't forget to use that code CLNS50. That's CLNS50 to receive a 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. BetOnline.ag, your online sports book experts. So let's jump right in. We do have a big agenda to talk about. So why don't we do that?
we were told by John in one of the hashtag AskBNGs to keep the vibes positive. So let's start with last Sunday at Lake Tahoe because it's the only positive vibes I got going right now.
And I'm sorry, before we do this, I'm sorry, Heather, I gotta bump right in here.
Okay.
I wanted to say something about my one of my best friends. And he is the Buster boy. I'll show him a picture right here. Buster turned 11 this week. I'm so excited for him. He's all old and everything. That's my boy. So happy birthday, Buster. Love you guys. And his brother Winston is 2. So kind of cool. But I'm sorry. I just wanted to
no worries.
say something about that.
I'm never going to deny you a Buster. You know that. You've shared my Buster, my dog Buster, for many, many, many years, too. Absolutely. Someday I'm going to get you that copy I have of you and Buster by the fireplace. little memory to keep with you of my Buster. Everyone's
let's get to the topic. Let's get to our agenda, and we're going to show these now. So every time we talk about a topic on our lengthy list of agenda issues that we need to go over, this will be popped up so the viewers on YouTube can also see what we're talking about. So here we go, Heather. Let's kick it off here.
All right. So yeah, we're going to start with Tahoe. Tahoe, yay. We won 7-3, right? Yep. We beat Philly. It was, to say, the highlight of the week. I mean, I think that pretty much sums it up. But I mean, a lot of things went on. Let's start with, I don't know, maybe, what do you think? The fashion, like what was going on with that? Did you feel like the middle school or high school threw up all over Lake Tahoe? Because I did.
Yeah, it was interesting, but they did it as a group. It was a discussion before what they were going to do. It was almost like the movie about something about the Titan. Remember the Titans when they all came out and started singing the song and doing the little dance to warm up and so on. So this might have been their Remember the Titans moment for all of them, but they chose a very terrible generation to go back to. The windbreakers were funny. Patrice Bergeron looking like a cup that I have at work when I have my coffee. It was pretty interesting. And obviously David Pasternak, the guy's just a complete superstar in this league, but it's his personality that really is breaking barriers, creating a wide range of fandom from an older person that remembers the 80s and 90s, whatever, to a younger person that might not have been around to acknowledge what terrible clothing they wore back then. But
they wore.
Yeah, exactly.
We wore.
But I was more of a ripped jeans and long hair and a jean jacket over the windbreaker. So exactly, I was metal all day.
I loved it. I gave them a rating of a 90210 because it was very, very 90s. I'm not really a bright color girl, as you know. I certainly wore my fair share of fluorescent kind of freak shows like that. Again, you're born into the generation you are. I don't blame people for bell bottoms either because they were kids in the 70s or whatever, 60s and 70s. But I thought the look was great. I almost died when I saw the Bash Brothers from the Mighty Ducks out there. That was great. Loved it. I disagree. So I heard someone say if Chara was here, they would have never done that. I'm like, no, see, I feel like Chara's fun. If Bergie would have been like, I want to do the 90s. I want to do the 90s. They would have done it.
I don't think that's true because obviously that person who said that, it was probably on Twitter, right?
I don't know. I podcast something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I will say that yes, he probably would have because we've all seen this guy in a bunny suit for Easter.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think he would have.
I've never seen Chara not get into the fun. Right. Exactly. Like he's the first one to be dressed up like the crazy, member of the Toy Story, so yeah. I do disagree in the fact I think if Bergie was like, we want to do the 90s, Dad Chara would have definitely been like, all right, we're going to need me an extra big suit. You know what I mean? Also, Chara's the kid of the 90s. He's our age. You know what I mean? So he probably would have been like, oh, yeah, this is fun. The Walkman was great. The game was pretty good. The first period, it was hard. Still a lot of glares. I know Judd and Bob were saying down by the ice, like they couldn't even see down the other end until probably near the end of the first and stuff. But I thought it came off a lot better on Sunday than it did on Saturday for the Avs Vegas game. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a kind of a shit show, and it is what it is. I mean, I'm just happy that those ice conditions didn't happen on Sunday, like you mentioned. That was it was a West Coast thing. I don't care about the Vegas Golden Knights, and I don't care about the Colorado Avalanche. My concentration was let's get this up and ready, and for Sunday's game, because that's when 2 points are definitely involved, and it's our Boston Bruins. We tend to pay a little more attention and gravitate to them. So. The game overall, the experience, I was thrilled, man. I really want to see more of this. Take it to the national parks if it's well and good. If Canada will let you go to Lake Louise, do it. If you want to go to Maudsley State Park here in Newburyport, Massachusetts, let's do it right on the Merrimack River. Those are the things that they should be doing moving forward. And whether you have fans in the stands or not, I like the fans in the stands for that nostalgia thing, and you pack in stadiums. That's all well and good, but also mix in some of these games without fans if you want, and just get the TV revenue, because the sounds of what we heard, the crunching of the ice when a player goes in the corner and turns, and what you're hearing, like the players talking to each other and swearing and the chirping and so on was fun. I thought it was great, so I'm all for it.
Well, that's kind of what the fun's been for the last year, right? Is us big mouths aren't in the stands like yelling, and they can't really control hearing the chirps and the natural sounds of the puck bouncing off the board, zipping around the glass, you know what I mean? Like, just the noises. And it is fun. It's like the same noises I heard this morning at my kids' hockey, practice. So that's fun. But to give him a due, David Pastrnak, hat trick. Yes.
Yes.
Your boy Trent Frederick got his first goal in that beautiful scenery. I'm sure you were very happy about that. Can't pick a better spot probably to have had that moment. The redhead got it. Nick Ritchie got a power play goal. I don't want anyone to think. Did you see? I was retweeted.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry,
and then you had to explain yourself afterwards, which was absolutely awesome.
Sorry, I'm slacking or whatever. I'm doing I think that was actually maybe the other Rangers game. I don't want anyone to think I'm ignoring Ritchie. That was the game that I had someone call me things like, guy, no, I retweeted them giving him the credit. So I really retweeted both of them for the goal because I was behind because I was at work and I just got this goal out. But anyways, so the boys put up good numbers. Who else? McAvoy got a goal and Charlie Coyle got a goal. But the most exciting part probably of the goal scoring, besides they were having so much fun out there, was Pastrnak and your boy Trent Frederick. Very happy with himself, as he should have been. And big win. I think they had fun, and then it got a little messy, especially I believe that the next part of this moving on is talking about now, though, we've lost Jeremy Lauzon for 4 weeks.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Bruins defenseman Jeremy Lauzon would be out at least a month due to having surgery to repair a broken bone in his left hand that he sustained in that 7-3 victory over the Flyers at Lake Tahoe. I believe it was just his first shift, right? Got in the corner and just took a little bit of a hack, and we didn't see much of him after that. I will say that the response of his loss was really good. I talked about it on the live stream we do with the Dump and Change boys, Jared and Nick, on Tuesday nights. Every Tuesday night, check it out. I like the response of the young player like Urho Vakanainen, and McAvoy, how he took over a serious leadership role in that game. And it was like that next man up mentality. But it does suck that these injuries still continue, and they continue on the defense, which I really didn't want to see happen, because you have more forwards available to pick and sort from than you do with your defensive core, regardless of who's in the taxi squad or not, or who's down in Providence. But still, it's just something that there's no part of a season, especially in a shortened, condensed 56 game schedule, where you could say, this is a good part of the year to have these injuries. But you can kind of say that now, because the Boston Bruins are up. They're not at the top right now of the Mass Mutual East, but they're up there. So yeah, you could say that this speed bump was due to happen, and injuries are going to happen. But let's get healthy, and then let's get forward. I mean, we're way past the quarter mark now in this season. So yeah, I mean, let's get everything back. Zaboral got back, which is good, and yeah. So I mean, unfortunately, Jeremy Lauzon, his loss is critical in that physicality department, So, and you could definitely see that in our upcoming discussion when we talk about the next two games after this Philadelphia game. So, yeah, it sucks to have Lauzon out. I really like him. I like what he does on the back end,
I think, too, it's concerning just developmental wise, right? Because these boys had to bump up, and this is their first NHL season. And you know what I mean? Essence, whether it was necessity or they earned or otherwise. And that's a long time to be out as a young defenseman learning. He's been playing top pairing, like he's been having a good learning curve, like we're obviously giving, especially the defense, a little bit of, leeway because they're trying to work it out. But now we have a situation where things were sort of settled a little bit. And, just for him, that's a month, that means he's getting back. It's almost playoffs in the season at this point, Yeah. I mean, we are almost to the halfway point, just like that. And so that being said, things started taking a real ugly turn on Thursday versus the New York Islanders. Yes, it was gross. We lost 7-2. I'm going to try to accentuate the positives for later for the B&Gs. But overall, this was a shit show. Excuse my language, but I cannot, regardless of injury or anything else, the Islanders game on Thursday was exactly how we should never be playing hockey. Like, we're better than this hockey. Do you know what I mean? We are way better than this hockey. So I'm going to let you go first. Any comments, questions, concerns, and all around in between.
Yeah, there's absolutely no excuse for not figuring out this team, especially in today's hockey. You have the technology to look back at video, which I know that they're doing. I know that they're doing the due diligence to try to figure this out. I mean, the Islanders right now seem to be the kryptonite, and the New Jersey Devils are seemingly getting to that point too. But it's just so strange that you can beat up on Philly. You can beat up on, well, you don't beat up on, but you play well against Washington. You play well against Pittsburgh's and blah, blah, blah. But when it comes down to teams like the Islanders, and I'm not saying the Islanders are a slouch or anything like that at all, or the next opponent we're going to talk about, but these are teams that I believe that you should be able to figure out. And it's just going to get, if they can't figure this out, it's just going to get much worse. And these games, when you're playing 8 games a year against these teams in this new division, it's not going to be easy. So they got to do something. I accept the speed bump. I'm not freaking out about what's going on right now, but in reality, you do have to address it. You do have to, mend those areas that you're getting exposed, because this Islanders team is just finding ways to freaking make your day absolutely horrible.
Yeah, that I was thinking we're not really doing very well in that triangle. The Island in Madison Square Garden or down at the Brewer in New Jersey. Something about the water, I don't know. But I mean, that being said, Ritchie scored a goal, not a power play goal, sorry. And Smith got a goal. And so I guess a thing that's all right is the second line is being all right. They seem to still be in the game. I need them to figure it out more. But I also, I see people, it's blames John Moore. John Moore is not even playing. You can practice all you want, but you're a 32-year-old defenseman who hasn't played hockey and, not playing a lot. He's not the problem. We overall are breaking down defensively as a team, a whole team effort. And where we are playing the same teams over and over again, these teams have figured out, the Islanders in particular, how to just punch a hole, whether we have all our people healthy or none of our people healthy on the left side. They are punching a hole through this defense and not helping. As a team, we've been leaving our goaltenders out to dry this week. And it makes I'm not saying there hasn't been some that Euro should have had or Tuukka couldn't have had. But what I'm saying is overall, as a team, if we're struggling, now we're down to 5 defensemen on the back end because someone's out, had to leave the ice. then I'm going to need the forwards to do exactly like, especially like their third and fourth liners. That's what they do. That's what they're good at. That's why we have dangerous lower level lines, is they're good at getting into the physical and this. And I'm going to need them to step up then, because now we've got even more young people or veterans that haven't played and been in the mix. And now they have to, now the people who have been playing have new defensive pairs, new, it's a rotating thing. But because of that, you'd think that they would come together to try to figure it out. But I feel like now we're fighting, not fighting each other actually, but like just now the frustration and the like working it out is all kind of creating a whole spew of just what is going on. Also, it hasn't been kind to us having 4 days off, because the last time we had 4 days off, we lost 2 games. We won in Tahoe, and then we have 4 days off, and now we're back to this. That being said, we do have a lot of injuries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I can't talk about this Islanders game. It's just like, that was really, really gross.
Well, let's actually hear what Bruce Cassidy had to say in his presser as we bring in this one right here.
Well, we got down on ourselves, tried to do too much. There were a couple of pinches, shorthanded goal again. So I think it was the third and fourth, fourth and fifth. We just we didn't stick with it. We gave up a third goal that a young kid just got caught a little bit, not moving his feet. And then we pressed, made some mistakes, gave their top players time and space, and they buried us. Well, we've been tied every game going into the third. I thought we did our best work the first time in here. It was a 1-0. They got a fortunate deflection where we stayed patient. It's how they play. It's how they play, and I'd like to think when we're on our game, we're pretty structured and responsible, and how we can put teams away. So beat us at our own game a little bit in terms of not beating yourself. I thought tonight was a real good example. We beat ourselves in the third period, clearly. Give them credit. They capitalized on their opportunities. But like I said, I think those goals 3, 4, and 5 that sort of put us behind, that, a little bit of is on us trying to force things or not executing. So the similarity is, they stick with their game the last few times in here. The last time we were in here was our third and fourth nights. The third period could have just been a simple issue of, they had more juice in the tank. But at the end of the day, they found a way every time. Obviously the Barzell matchup at home, you have a little better opportunity to get that. But, having said that, Crowley's line, we're comfortable with them playing against good players every night. Tonight, we didn't check well enough against that group. But again, we also gave one up to their skill on our power play. So that's been a concern lately. We've been not very good. And that was what happened last time in here, Hags, too. We had a chance to get back in the game in the power play and gave up a shorthanded goal. So that's been one of the constants, I guess, as well, is that we haven't been able to capitalize on offensive opportunity on the man advantage and actually give them a goal to put us further in the hole. Yeah,
exactly what he said right there. The power play's got to get much better. I mean, this power play was the toast of the league for so many years, and they've been up there, and just the way that it's constructed and so on, you expect a little bit better from them. I thought Bruce said it right there perfectly, that this team, this Islanders team, is just like I said before, it's the kryptonite. So very strange.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Yesterday I was like, I don't even want to look at the Bruins faces, not Coach Cassidy, not I understand they're doing their best, and it's not because I don't think they're not all good at their job. It's just frustrating when, especially, and we'll talk about Friday's game in a minute after we talk about the injuries, but saying things like we need to pass more is great. But if we don't pass more, or shoot more and pass less, it doesn't work. If we don't figure out exactly, that's the whole point though. The Islanders figured it out. They have our number. We need to figure out how to figure it out. Because this whole season, what's starting to concern me overall is we're either coming back in the third for a spectacular finish, or we're imploding in the third period for this weak kind of finish. And that we need to figure out, because in the long run, if we are going to be competitive, even if we can't win a cup this year, okay, maybe we can. I'm not saying we can't, but let's be realistic. The chances of us hoisting the cup as constructed is pretty low, right? pretty low. We can probably go the first few rounds and get out of our division. But after that, it's going to be the rough go. And if we can't figure it out now with injuries and stuff, how are we ever going to figure it out after a grind of the last 2 months, everything being condensed even more because of the COVID reschedules, and then a couple weeks within the division, the same teams that have already handed you your asses so many times, and we're already halfway through playing some of these teams. So that's just what kind of concerns me. You know what I mean? We can say all we want, but like, not saying they're not working on it, but they've got to figure it out because they have not looked well this week. Like, it's not just us as a fan base or whatever. Like, other people are like, what the hell is going on with the Bruins right now? Even if you factor in young kids and injuries. That being said, we still have a lot of injuries. Still no Krejci. I'm not sure where. I mean, Kasha could be in the Czech Republic for all I know. No Grizz still, but he may play today. Have you seen anything about that?
Bruce said in his presser that he is not going. He was in the practice lineup. I believe a white jersey, so he's good to go for full contact. But I don't believe he'll be in this afternoon's game against the Rangers. We'll talk about that later on.
I was just going to say, and lastly, as much as it was, Miller might just be having a maintenance day, it turns out that maybe Miller might have tweaked something again for.
Yeah, starting to sound that way. So. No, it's not much of a load maintenance like they've been talking about and so on. I think that the training staff was on this one and said, let's not push him too much until he, breaks that kneecap for a third time. It's unfortunate because he does add a little bit of physicality that this team absolutely needs, and losing somebody like that, Miller and Lauzon, that puts you behind the 8 ball when it comes to traffic in front of your own goal, and we're seeing it. We're seeing opportunities for other teams that are just being created because folks aren't there to clean out the dirt in front. So. Is what it is. I mean, injuries are going to happen, but when it comes down to having 2 physical players like that, you take a huge element out of the game.
I'm concerned. Well, it'll be nice to get Grizz back. I understand if they keep him out. I'm on board for like rest Miller as much as you want, because I'd rather have John Moore look struggly and Kevin Miller not end up for another 18 months out of, hockey than that. I mean, because we're going to need the depth. I do think that we're starting to see with Krejci out of the lineup, you know what I mean? Because as much as he hadn't scored any goals this year, he still had like 11 assists or something before he got injured, or 10 or 11. So it's not like he hadn't been doing David Krejci things a little bit. I mean, not as consistent as we'd like, but let's face it, our team struggles with consistency. You never know what you're going to get. And it's not just Jake DeBrusk, like on the whole, especially this week, you've seen that. I'm starting to get a little concerned about our depth though. You know how everyone always said how we didn't have that much depth to like pull up this and that. And I think right now, and I'm not judging them, I think it has to do with this is what happens when you get courage under fire, your first real season playing against, the top level. But like they're owning these, people are starting to own some of these young kids' asses. And I understand maybe the kids haven't been like, so, okay, you can argue Trent Frederick maybe hasn't been as physical as he was. I'm just using him as an example. I'm not saying him specifically, but like we're starting to see what happens when you have veterans like Chris Kreider and whoever, Tom Wilson's, when you in the grind. And now that these kids have a lot of pressure on them, which really isn't their fault because everything's been shuffled with injuries and stuff. But I'm concerned about the depth. So next man up is great. But if we don't have any men, or we're starting to kind of draw deep, like that's great. Like Nick Wolf's playing great. I'm so glad but I don't want him to be my 6th defenseman. Like I want him to be playing in Providence. So I just didn't know if you had any thoughts on that, because the injuries, that's part of figuring it out. Like, are we deluding ourselves to think, even though we like them, that they're more valuable than some of these players are, at least at this time in their development?
Yeah. I think everything's fine. It's not fine as in they're winning, they're doing all the right things. This is the learning curve for some of these young players that are coming into this lineup for the first time. And obviously played well, but you're going to have those times that you take a down step, and injuries are real big on this one too, especially on defense. That Trent Frederick one, when he was just trying to get cute in front of the goal and got his stick lifted and somebody put a shot in for their first career NHL goal. That was kind of ridiculous, but still, it's just those small learning curves that you got to, let's skate it out, take a couple strides before looking up ice to transition out fast. I'm not worried about the youth right now. I think this is a good time to insert them. This is a really big evaluation year when you have cap space coming up during the off season, where if you don't believe in your youth movement that's going on right now, you can address that with some veteran and a little bit more leadership, whatever you need on the back end or up front. It is what it is. I don't think the Bruins are going to absolutely go out and change everything on the process that they're currently working on. So I'm cool with it, but I just don't want to see a 2-game losing streak turn into 6 to 8. And when you're every point means everything to this team in this condensed season, that's when you're going to get trunched. And you might force Don Sweeney and Cam Neely to start making some serious decisions at trade deadline. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think we're getting, almost close to Blue Chew break for a second, but just to wrap up on this though, but that's what's concerning me though, because I'm not saying to not believe in the youth movement. What I'm saying though is, like, we all agree this season was going to be different. Okay. Just the way it's constructed, it's shorter. We have a lot of young people in, but what if it isn't just 2 games? Or what if it's 2 games, 1 game, 2, that's the same as losing 8 straight games. You're not really, every point counts, but you're not really making headway forward. Do you know what I mean? I am starting to mourn for the days where we lost in the shootout kind of thing. So you at least got a point, right? But we also have to be realistic that if in 4 weeks, because injuries will happen, and a lot of injuries could happen like this, we might have to pull the trigger at the trade deadline. Not for something crazy. I'm not saying like, oh, we're going to go snag Jack Eichel kind of crazy thing. But I do think that because of what we're seeing exposed with the injuries, and again, I'm not blaming anyone, because I think the veterans are just as much to blame as the young kids for what's gone on this week, because they should, in essence, like, yes, next man up. But you know what? These kids are following your lead. They can't only be following the first line's lead. You know what I mean? They have to follow Coyle and Ritchie and Smith just as much as that, or even Bjork and them. You know what I mean? So that I do have to say, though, is that those middle youth guys, like the Studnicka and Bjork and them, when they've been in there, I think that they have been doing their best to try and the people that they're familiar with, their old teammate, really kind of help, because they already have the solid bond because they've been, on the same team, and they've got the experience with some of the more experienced ones. So I do have to say, I think those middling guys, they have been probably the most consistent thing this week. Not the veterans, obviously not the young guys, but those middle guys, I think, have looked a lot like just consistent. I guess that's all I meant to say. But all right, that being said, it's time to talk about Blue Chew. Everybody loves Blue Chew. You chew, I chew. We all scream for Blue Chew. No, I don't chew, but that's fine. But I will encourage you to do so. So obviously every week, we're sitting here talking about hockey. We like hockey. Everybody loves hockey. And everyone above consenting age probably likes sex too. So, but sometimes the one-on-ones not working out quite the way you want it, can't get the finish going, can't figure out how to get it past the goaltender. That's all right. What we'll do is what you need to do is you need to listen to me. I'm going to tell you about Blue Chew. It's the first chewable with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. It's prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor and you don't have to go to the pharmacy, wait in line. It's even cheaper than pharmacy, and it's made in the USA. They ship it direct to your house in discreet packaging, which is great because then there's no awkwardness and you don't even have to leave the house. Okay. What you got to do, you go to bluechew.com, Blue Chew, blue like the color. You put in black and gold, the promo code black and gold, all capital letters. And our listeners will get their order for free. You just pay $5 for shipping and handling. So that's bluechew.com, blue like the color, put in black and gold all caps to receive your shipment for just $5 shipping fee. Yep, it's great. Blue Chew. I don't obviously take it, but I've heard rave reviews. And do that. Yes. Yeah, let's make it strong. So next time when you're trying to get it through, you can finish that one-on-one and be the hero of the game instead of the zero of the game crying on the ice. Okay, thank you. Back to the agenda.
All right. So, yeah, we're going to go from Blue Chew and what sounds like a great time while on Blue Chew to a not so great time.
The whole team needs Blue Chew. Just kidding.
Yeah. So next on the agenda, the Bruins lose again on the road in New York, this time against the Rangers, dropping a 6-2 stinker at Madison Square Garden in Game 2 of the current 3-game road trip. Game 3 obviously is today. We're recording this on Sunday, August 28, 2021, but we're recording early in the morning before the game so we can sit and watch it, enjoy it, not talk about it, because if we did a podcast through this game and they put up a stinker like they have, I'm sorry, I'm not good with the math, but I'm thinking that that's 15 goals in 2 games that they gave up.
It's not. Let's see. 6 and 7, 13 games. We were outscored 4-13. Sorry, I had to.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So
I'm not going mad either.
Yeah, just another game that they couldn't figure it out. You could gravitate to the injuries, you can gravitate to inexperience and so on, but still, it is one of those games that just was not good. And a team that you should be beating. The Rangers are depleted with the loss of Antonio Panarin. I think Jacob Trouba is still out. So. They have their issues too, but I think that this was the bounce back game that I thought the Boston Bruins were going to get after the Islanders 7-2 loss. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on this? Because I know I have a clip of Bruce Cassidy coming up that he was not exactly thrilled, but he did address some areas that everybody's got to get better. And he just didn't mention the players. He also mentioned his coaching staff, which I thought was interesting.
I think that Friday's game was worse than Thursday's game, even though they lost by less. I think that we looked worse. Like, at least in the Islanders game, at times you felt like you were in the game with it, that they were in the game. At no point, regardless of how most of it blew up in the third period again for the Rangers, did I feel like the Rangers weren't outplaying us. It just was, and that's what I'm talking about. It's respectable to lose, but it's not acceptable as an NHL team to ever be just that. I mean, like, it was like, what was it? I don't remember which game it was, but it was like 2 goals in 30 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just you got to be better than that, regardless of injury. And this is what I meant about it's great. Next man up's great. But if the next man can't figure it out too, it doesn't really matter. We're still just marching in circles. I actually think overall for play, though, I was like disgusted Friday. Like, not obviously, like, as a fan, you get disgusted, whatever. Again, hopefully today's a bounce back, no big, deal or whatever. It happens. I'm not someone who thinks your team should win all the time. I just don't think you should ever lose like that. And that's really my only thoughts on that. But that being said, they've got to figure it out. And that's great for Bruce Cassidy to call people out. But just like old coach Claude got fired in Montreal and Bergevin, who really is just looking out for his job at this point as well, said sometimes you need another voice. And I'm not saying we need another voice, but maybe we need a different way in which we're delivering the voice. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe the way Bruce is great and his coaches love him, but everybody ends up tuning out. You got to maybe change up the way you're delivering said same message too. And your coaches, like you called out. But yeah, everybody.
Oh my God. Sorry.
Everybody, no worries. Everybody in that locker room and on that staff of any sort is responsible for at least that Friday game. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was a whole breakdown, maybe even a systems breakdown. And it's okay to reevaluate the system. It's okay to have a couple different systems as necessary, because right now, as constructed, even if it's just because of injuries and everything else, our normal system is not working out. And as much as you want to keep shoving it in there, It doesn't seem to. So if we got to tweak it a little bit till you get Grizz back or you get, Miller back or whatever you need to do, that might just be something to consider, Bruce Cassidy. But again, you're a smarter man than I. Like, I'm just a fan, just giving a suggestion based on what my eyeballs can see. I know you can see the same thing, sir. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job, but maybe it's not the lines that need to be tweaked. Maybe it's the system itself that needs a little tweaking at this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Two stinkers in New York, and you're playing the New York Rangers. Today, you had 1 day of rest. I expect this to be kind of a statement game. I would expect that the Bruins staff really got to, on film, I know it's a short period of time, but they have all that technology available to look at where they're being exposed and work on it by talking to your players and preparing yourself for a Rangers team that's probably going to be on a high after beating one of the best teams in the league on Friday. So preparedness is going to be at most urgency right now, and hopefully they come through with the injuries and injuries aren't an excuse. Like you said earlier, it's always that next man up mentality. You should be ready to get in there and go. But we'll see what happens with that. Let's hear a quick word from Bruce Cassidy on his thoughts on the loss to the New York Rangers.
Trying to get through a stretch here. With the back end that's still sorting things out and learning their way, a very young group. So a couple things have to happen, Steve. They got to play better, first of all, and recognize what they can get away with the puck and not. It's just too many turnovers, too much reckless play, right? So we got to do a better job coaching them up, no doubt. So that's on us. By the same token, once they get on the ice, they have to recognize how they can help us win games. So that's the one thing we've got to correct. And the second part is knowing that we have some valuable guys out. The stiffness in front of our net with Lauzon and Miller and the puck mover and Grizz, one in each pair. That as a team, you have to, pick up that group. And, that means an extra save along the way. That means secondary scoring and working hard to get back into your own end as forwards to limit the damage, winning your wall battles so that we don't have to defend a lot. So there's a little bit of that going on too, I think, where the rest of the group can pick up, the area that, that's diminished right now because of injuries. So to me, it's as simple as that. We need more out of more recognition of.
And he's absolutely right. Everybody, it's got to be by committee. It's got to be by your 20 skaters that you put on the bench every game and your 4 or 5, bench coaches that are behind you and staff. So this goes through the whole system. We got to do it all as one. When one person goes down, let's get somebody else in there that is, might be young and inexperienced, but still you should be prepared for any and all instant moments like what the Boston Bruins are going through right now.
Yeah, I do agree. And I used to say this too when Claude was the coach, right? The coach can only do so much. The coaching staff cannot indeed go out on the ice for them and figure it out. Or like Bruce kind of alluded to, they can coach them up, but like sometimes in game, you've got to figure it out as the player in that situation on the ice too. That sometimes is a sign of overcoaching. I'm not saying they are being overcoached, but sometimes, when your team's not playing so well, sometimes you get a little, I don't want to say pulling in the reins necessarily, but I don't know that to be true. Again, that's just an opinion call, but in my experience, when a coach is saying you guys aren't making decisions, you know what I mean? Like, but that's true. He's not wrong. Like they've been a mess. And like I said, Friday, hopefully today they bounce back and everything all is well, which I think is fine. I do think overall as a team, we're fine. I'm not like in a panic mode about, oh my God, we're going off a cliff. I am starting to get a little concerned about the depth, and I am going to have to see them win today to like show they're getting the message from their coach, from the fan base, from the teams around them about how they have to play. Because you know what? Next time we've had Philly's number this year, but when we play Philly again, they're going to be a healthier Philly. They might be, you know what I mean? The thing that saved us versus them a lot this year is just that we're in Carter Hart's head. It hasn't been that the team Philadelphia has played that poorly against us, but we are in Carter Hart's head. But maybe next time we're not in his head anymore. Like it looks different. I mean, it's not all going to be fun in Lake Tahoe. I get that. But you know what? I need a little bit fun. Barbie, maybe every day everybody play Barbie girl. Do whatever you need to do to get this team to win. We can win.
You speak of Barbie girl. It was funny. Somebody actually, I believe, sent was that a hashtag we should talk about? We'll talk about it later then. Forget it.
Yeah. I sent you the clip. I don't know if you have the clip too.
Yeah, I got like several clips from you, and I was just like, what the hell is all this?
Yeah.
But
I said, it's the first week. But yeah. So we play today at noon. We're trying to get this done. We'll do what we have to do to make sure we get this done for our listeners, our loyal B&G brethren, and all the Bruins fans out there that just need kookiness in their week. But God hope the boys win today at noon. We'll talk about it or ignore it next week accordingly on that end. Yeah. But go ahead.
We should touch on this one. Probably going to be a couple minutes. We're going to take a break. We hear from Bruce Sullivan pretty soon. But why don't we hit on this topic right now? Bruins prospect defenseman Urho Vakanainen was stellar in his first game back in the NHL due to an injury recall versus the Philadelphia Flyers. But what about his evaluation in his second and third game? He was very fluid in his skating. I mean, there was no problems with the ice on Sunday at Lake Tahoe. Very fluid. I mean, just real mobile, good transition, making smart plays, the things that you wanted to see. And obviously that was being matched up against a depleted Philadelphia Flyers. But still, there was some really good things to see in his development in his first game back in the NHL after being concussed and then being basically down in Providence all last season. But the second and third game were real trying for me because he seemed like the natural aspect of his Philly game came into serious desperation and making mistakes in the next two. And, development is always going to have a speed bump. It's not going to be perfect all the time. I think this is still going to be a very good prospect moving forward, but it like I said, it takes time to get it all complete together. Defensemen, sometimes they take a little longer than others, not as long as goaltenders and so on, but still there's some good things to talk about when you talk about Urho Vakanainen, and hopefully he gets it. I mean, there's no better staff in the league than Bruce Cassidy and Kevin Dean, both, I believe, defensemen in the past. So we'll see what happens with him.
I think that he's been all right. If we're going to, we're giving Lauzon and Zaboral their leeway. We're going to give Urho his leeway too, because he also hasn't played a lot of games up for fill-in or otherwise since he's been down in Providence. It's good for him. I think your first game, you always have the adrenaline of the first game, so that can explain it. Really, he looked really decent his first game, given the situation he got called up for, fun kind of environment to get that. And I think that's good for the club that they let the young kids have, you know what I mean? Even if, to let them travel. That's what I'm saying. So the second and third one, though, I think part of his struggles was just indicative of how the whole team was struggling, because it's hard to point to a kid that's got one game this season up here playing. And I know they've practiced and everything, but in a situation where we've been playing really crappy for 2 games, it's hard to kind of assess what's him and what's just kind of the team environment he's skating in that time. That's just me. I think he'll be fine. I would like him to be a little more. I know he's not like a stand-up defenseman. That's not, even though he's big, I know that's not his role. But at the same time, I need him to add a little more physicality, even if it's just bumping more, and using his body a little more, because he is. I think he's not going to be Charlie McAvoy, but he is a good balance of like a big guy with the offensive skills. But Yeah, just especially now without Miller. I mean, maybe just stepping up for now. Why Miller and, there are people out of the lineup for, again, I'm not saying you have to come across ice, check people kind of thing, but just, a little bit more of use your body, clear the people out. Like you said, clear them out in front of that, which no one's doing. I don't put that on Euro, but yeah, but that before they take the break, that's all I have to say. I mean, I don't think he's ready to be. I think that Lauzon and Zabora were the two most ready to bump in, and we know Clifton kind of comes in and out anyways. I don't think Euro's ready to be up all the time, but I think he'll be all right. How old is he? 24?
Who, Euro?
Yeah, or is he 23? He's a little younger, but he's not young, right?
Yeah.
I'll look it up. It's not that important.
Yeah.
I'll Google it and tell you after the break.
Google. All right. So we might as well just do it now. We'll take a break right now. We're going to hear from the awesome Bruce Sullivan from Boston Sports and Music Memorabilia. I put together this little commercial. Please follow his page on Facebook and send him an email if you want any of these fantastic Boston Bruins related hand-signed items. So here we go. Let's see what Bruce has this week. Hopefully this works.
This is Bruce Sullivan from Boston Sports and Music Memorabilia with our black and gold memorabilia moment of the week. This week we are featuring a pair of great Bruins defensemen. First up, Brad Park, 11 by 14, hand-signed photo display for $59, or you can get the special edition 15 by 20 for just $89. Next up, we have the greatest player of all time, Bobby Orr, in the iconic flying goal. This is hand-signed and authenticated by GNR. Yours for just $269. Next up, we've got this 15 by 20 hand-signed special edition. Yours for just $199. Lastly, we've got a beautiful pair of Bobby Orr autographed jerseys. Take a look. This week's featured Bruin of the Week is none other than the greatest player of all time. And you can buy the Bobby Orr jersey, your choice, white style or black style, hand-signed by the legend himself on the iconic number 4 for just $329. Both jerseys feature the iconic flying goal and the GNR Certificate of Authenticity from Great North Road, Bobby's own company. For more information on our dozens of Bruins hand-signed pieces and for your chance to win free memorabilia each week, check us out at our Facebook page, Boston Sports and Music Memorabilia. Or email me directly at bostonsportsandmusic@gmail.com. And be sure to check right back here every week to the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Let's go!
Hey, Bees fans, we're back, and we just heard from the awesome Bruce Sullivan from Boston Sports and Music Memorabilia. Go check it out. Take the information on that video, the email address, and how to get and follow him on his social media over on Facebook. He has a page over there where he does all his sharing of all his Boston Sports hand-signed stuff, memorabilia. So make sure you do that. He's a great guy, and the prices are unbelievable. So probably the cheapest I've seen around. And this is where we get our jerseys for the jersey giveaway. And what a shocker, I forgot to do the that for the Patreon guys, but we will do that later on. But we are back, and we're going to get back to the agenda. So, actually, I wanted to bring up the Joe Haggerty sent out a tweet. This is before the game on Sunday. So today against the Rangers, it remains to be seen what kind of energy Craig Mcquade and Carson Kuhlman bring this afternoon. But defenseman Steve Kampfer is excellent in these spots, parachuting into the lineup and providing energy, physicality, and a little offense. I expected him to be a factor today. So Bruce Cassidy did, in fact, shake up that lineup a little bit. We're going to get a little bit physicality out of Craig Mcquade. He's a big guy, but I heard his practice sessions on the taxi squad have been really good. The guy can snipe, I guess. He's got a really good shot. So remains to be seen what happens with him. Carson Coleman actually answers a question that I got asked on Twitter. Is he injured? But no, apparently he's in the lineup, just not being utilized until absolutely needed. And it took a Bruce Cassidy shakeup to get him in the lineup. So we'll see what what he brings. He's a fast little guy. So, and Camphor is the ultimate veteran. Just that plug and play guy, and he's been very suitable in this Boston Bruins organization since he was signed here or traded here. I think he got traded. So we'll see what happens with these additions and the way the lineup looks. But Mcquade did practice on the fourth line in between Corrali and Kuhlman. So the odd men out per the Boston Bruins practice lines yesterday, Bjork and Wagner look to be out. And Heather, real quick, what did you think of Studnicka sliding back into that natural center position recently?
I mean, he looked all right. I mean, one game's hard to judge him by, but I also am not sure I want him to get comfortable just being in the center again, because we never have winners either. You know what I mean? So, I mean, he looked all right. Like I said, the young kids, Studnicka and Bjork, and them, like, I feel like the ones with a little experience have been most consistent, the young kids. I would like to say Steven Camphor, always, he doesn't have to play a lot, but when he does, he always shows up for when he is. He's always prepared. And that's why last year when he had to stay home because of his wife, and he, they made the decision as a family for him to not go to the bubble. I understood, because you know what? He's not there a lot, but when he is, he's there for his team. He's been around a long time too. Steven Camphor has been around a long time, and I think people forget that. I don't know. I guess we'll see with Mcquade. I mean, if anything, it's perfect Boston name, Hopefully he can snipe, because no one's been sniping, and I would love a couple snipers.
Would be nice to see from somebody that just joined the team too, that's not known for sniping.
Yeah. Or just having someone totally different. Like, I mean, the Rangers are going to be like, who the hell's Greg Mcquade? Or is that his name? Greg Mcquade?
Yeah, Greg Mcquade.
Greg Mcquade. Oh yeah, Craig Smith, Greg Mcquade. Just thinking that. But yeah, I mean, whatever. It can't get any worse, right? I mean, then we don't play again until Wednesday. Obviously, we'll get to that a little later. But I mean, frankly, it can't get any worse than Thursday and Friday at this point in the week. So let's fucking do whatever for Sunday and see you next week. We'll move on to the next week. So we're moving to the part. We now have a name for this segment, but we've been saying, Mark, we're going to make sure Mark gets a systems update for us every single week and down in the system. So Mark, take us away.
So down in the system, I was going to do the minor minute, but I talk way more than a minute when I talk about prospect, because it is actually one of my favorite part of the Boston Bruins organization. But they've been doing really good so far this year. The down in the American Hockey League, top minor pro affiliate of the Boston Bruins. But just to give a couple updates about what's going on, these updates are probably going to get better, but we're just doing this on the fly for now, because we're trying, like, again, when we talked about at the beginning of the show, we're trying out a new platform here, and I think it's kind of going to be cool. So, but we still have to learn. And but this talking about February 21st, which was a week ago, Saturday. So I just want to give a couple updates. But the Providence Bruins beat the Hartford Wolfpack at the XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut. Oscar Steen got on the board in the second period. There was no scoring in the first period, but 20 seconds into the period, Oscar Steen gets his first goal from Anton Bleed and Brady Lyle. And I'm actually going to tee up the video on this. So check this out real quick. It's really cool. Let me X out of this right now and bring this right in. So check it out.
He shoots in. Sweyman's out to play it, passing near corner to
Watch how he comes in layers. Like, they get the puck out right here and move it to Lyle. And then Lantoshi just comes in, and watch where Steen is. Boom. I love that kid. He's been playing so well down there this year. Much better since last year. I think he's getting used to the North American ice since coming over from Sweden on the entry-level deal. But, yeah, he gets that goal. And then 25 seconds later, Cameron Hughes gets his second from Paul Carey. Brady Lyle gets his first goal from Lantoshi and Samuel Asleen. Uno Kapanen, who's been an absolute tank, gets his second. These are all third period late goals, and Zach Senyshyn gets his an empty netter. But 5-2 win over a very tough Hartford Wolfpack team. So that was that. Moving on to the Bridgeport Sound Tigers on Thursday, February 25th at 1 p.m. at the New England Sports Center in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Brady Lyle, he's becoming one of my favorite defensemen down in Providence. The third pairing is technically the best pairing on this Providence Bruins team, and that's him and Jack Ashan. Those guys are really working well together. It's very similar to what's going on in the Boston Bruins right now. Bruce Cassidy and traditionally the Bruins like to have a shutdown guy with a mobile guy, a smaller mobile guy that can get out, transition well. This is the same thing that's going on down in Providence and Jay Leach's system, and this line has just been so impressive. So I want to tee up the second goal at 8:29 in the first period, assisted by Senyshyn and Paul Carey. But this goal particularly is and pay attention to this one, Heather. I know you're going to like this one. We've talked several times about Charlie McAvoy and his urgency to use his speed and his stick handling to get through the three zones, cross that blue line, and dish it off. What we talked about several times is continuing the movement and the whole give and go. I really like the give and go aspect of any style of hockey, but it's being taught down in Providence from Jay Leach and Trent Whitfield and Ryan Mulgren and so on. So these guys are really doing it. But this goal particularly was one that I really liked, and that's the Steen. This is the one right here. So here we go. But watch how he just takes the puck right here. Just skates up all these three zones, goes through, dumps it, and then continues.
A shot, and he scores.
See, he just continues on without any worries. Just goes. Instead of curling back and trying to cover the blue line, he was right there for his first. So that was an awesome job from him. And like I said, that third pairing with him and Ashan had just been so fast. It's been physical. I mean, Ashan plays like he's 6'8", he's only 5'8" or 5'9" or whatever. You know,
I've been watching some footage of him.
Yeah, it's been absolutely crazy. But in this game, Uno Kapanen in the first period gets his third. He's been really good. Mark Diver on Twitter has mentioned several times, or a couple times, sorry, that he probably could be a call-up this year if needed. He's been playing really well down in Providence. But that was it, though. It was only 2 goals on Thursday. The Providence Bruins lost to the Bridgeport Sound Tigers by the score of 3-2. Dan Vladar got the loss. He stopped 27 of 30. And previously, I'm so sorry because I'm doing this on the fly. Again, Jeremy Sweyman was in the Hartford goal was in the Providence goal on February 21st, over a week ago now, and he made 34 saves on 36 shots. So sorry about that. But updating the last game, which was actually yesterday, and I live streamed it, which I normally do. The Providence Bruins were back at the XL Center playing the Hartford Wolfpack, and Hartford gets on the board first at 8:01 in the first period. Zach Senyshyn, he's been playing really good. He scored his 4th of the season, assisted by Jack Ashan. And then Jack Ashan gets his first professional goal at the 2:25 mark of the third period from Paul Carey and Cameron Hughes on the power play. And we're going to tee that one up right now.
Todd takes a funny bounce off one of the stanchions with the slot all the way over to the far side. Bleed drops it back to Ashan on the point. Right side to Hughes in the circle. Back to Ashan straight on. Ashan shoots one. That's blocked in front by Radish. Worked out of the near side corner by Carey out to Ashan on the blast, and he scores.
Big boom. This kid is just amazing. You know, his lateral movements along the blue line, the way he plays the bumper. I mean, even though him and Lyle on the third pairing, they're the first pairing or first to go to when it comes to power plays. So it's just, these have really good things I'm seeing down in Providence. And I know it's a work in progress. It's not over below the prospect process here, but these are solid signs of what is to come later on. And Lyle, I just want to mention that he's on an AHL deal only. So he signed out of the Ontario Hockey League from the Owen Sound Attack. And but Ashan is technically a prospect because he did sign an entry level. So good stuff, good work in progress stuff. In this game, Jeremy Sweyman stopped 27 of 29, and he is looking good. He's 4-0. Let's look at the goalie stats right now. Jeremy Sweyman is 4-0. He's got a .929 save percentage, and he's got a 2.0 goals against average. Playing well. So Dan Vladar's playing good too, even though he's 1-2. He's got a .934 save percentage in 3 games, 171 goals against average. So there's really solid things that are going on. You don't really have to look at win-loss and everything when it comes to goaltenders that are developing. You really want to see that high save percentage and low GAA, and you got something good there. So just rounding everything off, let's talk about the scoring. Paul Carey is in the lead for Providence Bruins with 8 points, and those are all assists, and that's in 7 games. Zach Senyshyn has 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points in 7 games. Jakub Lauko has 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points in 6 games. Cameron Hughes, to round off, has 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points in 7 games. And to round off the top 5, Jack Ashan has a goal, 4 assists, and 5 points. So that is it for the down in the system kind of segment that I kind of threw together real quick as I'm learning the StreamYard thing here. So what did you think about the discussion? Did you learn anything, Heather? And the video clips, were those helpful at all? Because I kind of like that stuff.
They are, because honestly, let's face it, I'm probably only going to watch clips of the Providence Bruins. I don't have time to watch them even if I could. So, I always learn something when you give the update. I always use you as the update person. I don't have the desire to, nor the time to follow 8,000 prospects and whoever doing what they're doing. So, as always, but I know the people like to hear you talk about the prospects. Also, you love prospects and it makes you very happy. So, it just makes me happy to see you happy.
Like it.
Yeah.
Real quick, the standings. The Providence Bruins are in front of the 3-team Atlantic Division. They have a 5-2-0 record, and they are currently 5-2-0 in the past 10. So they haven't even played 10 games. Jesus. So that is it for that. So we'll move on to the next topic.
Okay. Are you sure? Anything else you need to tell us about the young guns?
I don't know. Was I supposed to?
No, I just wanted to make sure you had nothing else that you could think of.
I did not. So now I'll show this.
Okay. So, a couple milestone mentions this week. It's part of the positive. Bergeron passed Bobby Orr on the all-time scoring list to number. So he's solidly in 5. And Brad Marchand, I can't even believe. I just never would imagine 300 goals for Brad Marchand. It was like one of the only good things about, was it Friday's game, I think?
Yeah.
I swear, if you would have told me Brad, I mean, I liked Brad Marchand from the start, but I never would imagine he would be the player he is today. And I can't say that enough. Just like a complete, just like he's a superstar. Like you might hate him, but he's someone you're trying to get on your fantasy team or your team when you're constructing one on a computer or whatever. So I don't know, 2 big milestones. Which is, I just wanted to bring it up. There may have been little milestones, but those are the 2 big ones from this week. So I just thought we should have mentioned them. We could have mentioned them during the game, but I think it's important to recognize them separately. Just again, legendary Bruins. We've been lucky. Like this is this generation of Bruins that, you know, as people talk about Busick and all of them, or they talk about, you know, Bork and Middleton. And I can't believe I just called Ray Bork Bjork, like Anders Bjork. That's so funny. These guys are them. Pasternak, you know, like Pasternak might be the future, but Bergeron, Marchand, Tuukka Rask, David Krejci, they defined their generation of Bruins, and they carried the mantle. The more the Bruins teams change, the more they stay the same. The more the game changes, the more they stay the same. Like, it's an organization. I'm glad we have a healthy environment over the last 20 years than maybe for some of the previous times and at times in the history. But these guys, I'm already going to cry. Like, when they retire, like their jerseys, their numbers going in the rafters, I'm already upset about it. And we still have them around for a little bit. So congratulations, gentlemen, for always. Now, okay, Brad, sometimes you don't necessarily represent us the most ethically, but you've come around, guy. Getting married and kid and stuff really did you good. So congratulations, boys, on that. Overall, though, as a team, we are 11-5-2, got 24 points. We played 18 games. Good news is we'll be going in, and we'll talk about it in a minute, though, into a stretch playing at home. And we've been very good at home this year, which has not always been the case when playing at home. So exciting news this week came out, though. Charlie Baker, starting on March 22nd, Governor Charlie Baker, excuse me, for those of you who might not know. If I say who Charlie Baker, like, who the hell is Charlie Baker? If you're not from Mass, you might not know who Charlie Baker is. It dawned on me. Opening up sports venues and concerts and such at 12% capacity, which, looking at the screen, 2,100 fans or so. I don't even want to know what organ you have to sell to get a ticket to get in that building, because I know how expensive they are when you can cram 14,000 of us in there. So yeah, exactly. Good luck. I'm sure Julian Edelman from the Patriots is very pumped. He loves the Bruins, and he tweeted, like, "We're back, baby. Let's fucking go, March 22nd." So, like, Julian Edelman might be in the building because he can afford the ticket, but we sadly will not. But big deal, 12%. It's the opening. The Bruins get the first home game, not the Celtics. We do on the 23rd of March. That's right. So good luck if you're independently wealthy and you'd like to get in. There's only 2,100 seats, and I'm pretty sure they're probably going to some of the season ticket holders just to appease them. But exciting time. So I understand COVID. It's been a long year. Let's really be honest. It's not in the sports world. Just we're all at the end. We're all at different stages of our comforts and the whatever. We got to stick it together. But as much as people have complained, like, I would like to, like, I know in my state, like, yes, we had a lot of restrictions. And for a while, it was like, it felt like being closed up. But at no point in the last year have I not been allowed to go outside and take a walk for fresh. Like, I've had no rights violated, just trying to do the right thing. I don't judge other people for what they do, but all I know is I would love to go in that building, but I am not looking at trying to hang out with other people in large groups at least till summer.
Yeah. I'm doing the same thing, Heather. It's just, I'm excited for fans to get back in the stand because, you're going to have that notoriety that you had before of somebody at least cheering you on, giving you that inspirational bump that you need from a voice from afar. So this is actually good. And what I heard about it is they're going to be in pods of 4, I believe. So if you wanted to, you can only buy up to 4 tickets per person, but you're going to be buying the 2 in the front of one row and then the 2 in the back of another row. Mm-hmm. So what they're doing is it's kind of smart, but you're minimizing the distance. So if you have 4 seats all together in one row, that creates not much distance side to side. So by putting them 2 in front and 2 in the back, you can do that. So it's a decent idea. Probably going to be a fortune, like you said. But still, it's good. It's, for me, I'm not going to want to go. I don't care how much money it is and if I can afford it or not. I'm not going to go until at least next season. So have at it, folks, and so on. But I want to see it's a positive step forward that we're getting closer to normalcy, getting these stadiums back up and running. And I have to, have a moment and say that it's good for the owners too, because the owners are really taking a beating on this. As much as you hate Jeremy Jacobs and think that his $300 blah, blah, blah billion and so on is readily available all the time, which is not, because it's all tied up in assets. Anyway, and we'll get into the whole, that whole crap of the organization, but it's just, you need this. The league cannot survive without making these appropriate steps to get forward and allowing fans back in the stands where money can be made, and for an abundance of reasons, from a ownership to a worker at the TD Garden, ushers, food guys, beer guys, all those people. We got to get back to work. Got to get back at it, and normalcy is coming. So be proud.
That being said, if one has to rob a bank to buy tickets, I would suggest TD Bank and pay the sheriff with his own money, like Robin Hood. That's
exactly, and do it with a helmet with a TD sticker on it.
With a TD, just sneak in. Oh God. Oh my God, I can't. Oh God. This is a wacky Sunday. I apologize in advance, listeners. Please come back next week. I promise you it'll.
I'm not even hungover, but I had a few beers last night. But I had barbecue and it was amazing. Big Rig Barbecue, Sylvaticus beers here in Amesbury put me in a food coma.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was just like, I got to lay down. I'm just so full, but it was just good stuff. But normally I'm hungover right about now.
I feel like I'm hungover and I haven't even drank anything. I'm hungover this week on life, my friend.
There you go.
On life.
There we go.
Okay. So we do have some games coming up though. We play and we have 3 home games this week. One of them's on Sunday at a weird time. So we'll maybe talk about it or not talk about it, depending on when we record. But we play Washington on Wednesday the 3rd and Friday the 5th at home, 7:00 start times. Washington is Washington. They're top of our Mass Mutual division. They played 20 games. They have 11 wins, 5 losses, and 4 OTs, 26 points. They're 7-3-2, I think, on the road. So that's not necessarily good. But they are on a 2-game win streak. You know, whatever. They're the Washington Capitals. Do we really have to discuss how many guns and sons that they have on that team that can make our lives miserable? So regardless of what happens during the Rangers game today, hopefully by Wednesday we'll feel like we'll be a little more like ourselves. Maybe Grizz will be back or so, you know, like, and just, again, it's hard to pick a new normal when the normal keeps changing. And I'm so sick of the new normal in life, the new normal on my hockey team. I can't deal with all of the new normal changing every 5 days. And the new normal isn't new normal because it's the old normal before I get used to the new normal, whether it be my defense or just the school schedule. Okay. So that being said, we also play New Jersey, and that's Sunday at 5, I think. I think it's
yeah,
March
Sunday
7th.
at 5.
At 5. A weird time, but that's okay. I'm not mad about it. Because I know we'll be able to get the podcast in before then and not be rushing, trying to look at. We're both like, I just looked up to see you looking at the clock too. Like, girl, talk faster. It's 11:44. We got things to do in 15 minutes. That's fine. Send out a tweet. We're wrapping it up, people. That's fine. But we play New Jersey. They're playing 500. They're Jersey, but they've made our lives a little miserable this year and can certainly beat us if we don't get our shit together. So please get your shit together, because I'm sick of losing to the Islanders and the Rangers and New Jersey. And that hurts. It doesn't hurt my feelings to lose to Washington, but it does hurt my feelings to lose to the New Jersey Devils. Okay. I think that's what we have. We have acquired I think, one more topic before we go into the hashtag BNGs. We acquired Jared Tenorti off of waivers from the Nashville Predators. Did I say his name wrong?
Tenorti,
isn't that what I said?
Yeah, but you said it in the pre-one, or weird.
Earlier when I was talking to you about him, I said it weird, but I said it right that time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't read my writing on the sheet earlier. That's why I said.
And we have 3 more topics to go. So.
Yeah, well, I meant before we get into like the hashtag AskBNGs and the stuff like that. So I don't know. Who knows what will happen? That kind of shows me we've been thinking about depth a little. You know, Mark. I don't know if you know.
I don't have much on this. It is a depth signing, obviously. This could address future discussions via a press conference from Don Sweeney saying that Kevin Miller might be out for an extensive period of time. So this might be an insurance policy to get somebody that's physical on the back end. We've seen it the past couple of games and many times this season as they get pushed around a little bit. But, this is just something for that. I believe I don't really know much about this defenseman. I know that he had a goal and 4 assists and 5 points last season with Nashville, so I don't know a ton about him. But what I do want to know is where is his insertion going to be into this lineup, and how is he going to be used effectively, and when? And to answer that question, I'm going to tee up a video courtesy of the Boston Bruins Twitter account. All these videos that come from Bruce are all from the Boston Bruins Twitter account, so credit to them. But this is what Bruce had to say about the waiver wire acquisition of Jared Tenorti.
I don't know when he'll be available. I know he definitely will not be here tomorrow. There's, COVID protocols, etc. So we'll probably have a better answer for that down the road. But wake up call. I don't know. I think our depth has been challenged in terms of size, Steve. Lauzon, Miller bring a lot of that element. And with them being out, we don't know on Miller, obviously, with Jeremy, it's going to be 4 weeks minimum from his date of injury. So this gives us a different look back there, a little more stout and stiffness. So it's just a different element of a makeup of a back end. Now, obviously, if we were more efficient back there, rock solid, then I don't know if you do that, right? But at the end of the day, it is a different element to ask some guys to go out and play like the Lauzons and the Millers that aren't naturally that way is a little more difficult. Do they have to be tougher in front of their net or harder, I guess? Yes. Do they need to be cleaner with the puck? Yes. And I think that's what they have to focus on, not being something they're not.
So right then and there, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. They do have to get better, a little more physical. This might, and the assertion of Craig Mcquade today might show something in their game, might show a spark. The addition of Tenorti, maybe even next week against Washington, because there's a 2-game stretch at home that he gets in some action. Who knows about the COVID protocols and everything else? So that's all I got. I wish I had more information about the player. I know he's a 2010 draft pick by from the Montreal Canadiens, but
we'll do more research on him. And not like I've never heard him, but I have no idea about him. So we will keep, I guess, Tenorti watches on.
His father was Mark Tenorti, and I know he played a long time for the Minnesota North Stars, and I think Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken. So,
all right, a quick topic. I saw Dale Arnold had tweeted the other day that his book that it was Sean Thornton. It's a Sean Thornton biography with him and so I guess it's semi-autobiographical or whatever. I don't know the category. I'm sorry, brain, but Dale Arnold, who's very well respected sports guy around these parts, media guy, and Sean Thornton. So I love Sean Thornton. I think you love Sean Thornton. I don't really know anyone who does not love Sean Thornton. That ought to be a real interesting book. It's being released October 26, 2021. I believe you can pre-order it on Amazon and such now. But there are going to be some stories in there, because if you've ever seen Sean Thornton or met him, I mean, he is what he is. He doesn't pretend to be otherwise. He's great. I love him. I think he worked out here really well. I'm not mad at him for ending up in Florida and then going into their front offices. Like he always said, like, it's warmer here. Like that was the big decision. Should I go back to up there or stay down here? And
I could play golf here all year long. I can't do that in Boston.
That being said, Sean Thornton he comes up, he does his fundraisers every year, and he makes all appearances and alumni.
He should have been a Bostonian all along. He's just that Irish type of, Boston person. I'm not trying to put a.
You would think he was raised in Charlestown.
Exactly. He's just got that persona that when he walks on the street, that he's owning the city. Like his, it's just. You never would have thought that he was from. I think is he from Ontario?
I believe so.
I think so too, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I believe he is an Ontario boy. Sorry, Sean Thornton and people who really know a lot about him. But I believe he's an Ontario boy.
Yes.
So anyways, that's going to be an awesome book. Get in on it. I know I'm going to. Love Sean Thornton, love Dale Arnold. So support them both and get that done. So I guess the last topic before Ask B&G and stuff will be what is going on with Jake DeBrusk, Black and Gold writer and Rogers TV color analyst. Craig Eagles wrote an article about some of the concerns. So what are your thoughts on Jake and such?
It was kind of weird. We did this on the live stream after, I believe it was Behind the Bee came out. And they were talking about his eating habits. And I was kind of weirded out about the whole thing that he does McDonald's. He crushes McDonald's all the time.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. The guy is physically fit and so on. I'm sure if he eats a Big Mac, he's going to work it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my thing about it is it brought me back to like the days of John Whitesides. Remember him in that?
Oh, God.
I mean, he was I know he was a psycho, but he got results. So with John Whitesides taking a step back and not being the main guy of the Boston Bruins training and nutrition, I'm not sure who is in charge now. It is a new person. I think it had been involved for like a couple of years, at least a year or two, when John stepped back. But has the monitoring of stuff like that, being an ultimate pro, not only on the ice, but what you do off the ice as well, is that concerning? Is eating like McDonald's all the time taking a step back in Jake's speed? Because Craig Eagles mentions that in his article that he wrote, and he touched on several concerns about Jake's game that he thought, because I mean, Craig's a scout up in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, so he sees things a lot differently than anybody else, and I appreciate his opinions. But he touched on some really valid things, and I was just concerned about that. And I'm not saying Jake DeBrusk is trash, and I hate him, and he's not a Bruin type player, and he needs to be traded. I'm not that type of person. I'm just saying that could this team be better if they had better monitoring on how these young kids are eating and so on, so as they continue to develop?
Well, I don't know. I mean, certainly as a professional athlete, what you eat can impact that. But I think that even before he was crushing a lot of McDonald's, and I don't know, maybe he's upping the McDonald's game because frankly, I know when I'm upset, I want comfort food too. And like your favorite drive-through menu item can be that. I think though that Jake's game has been struggling long before there was, dietary concerns. But certainly that's not going to help if you're known for your fast feet. I mean, not to bring up Nick Ritchie, but look at the physical difference in what he looked like when he showed up in February and what he looked like at camp. Part of why he's being more successful is not because, is because he's also more physically fit. It's easier to keep up with the faster kids, and not saying like he's slow. I'm using him as an example of someone who's clearly made a conscientious effort to be more about diet and, whatever, and taking care of himself off ice, not just what's doing on ice. So maybe that's something that has to be analyzed. But I think Jake's got too much going on in his own head. It's like he has it in him and he's just not letting it out. And when he lets it out, he can't let it out for very long before there's large slumps of gone. So I don't know. Maybe he needs a sports psychologist because sometimes they just need somebody outside of your coaches and your trainers and your wife and your best friend and your buddies on the team to talk to you, just to have a place. Because maybe he has concerns. Maybe he just, he is still kind of a young kid that maybe you're not, I don't know why, for whatever reason, but maybe are concerned about sharing or something. I'm not saying that to be true. I'm just saying there can be a lot going on. I mean, he's a 24-year-old man, could be stuff. So I'm still not too worried. I hope he works it out. If not, I understand why he might be on the trade, but we'll see going forward. Hopefully we'll see a turnaround because again, he could play today and have just like a brilliant thing. Maybe being up will be helpful. All right. It's time for some hashtag Ask BNGs, my friend.
Is it really? I thought we had one more.
No,
I'm sorry.
Nope.
Real quick. My bad.
Okay.
My bad. Real quick. Could former Boston Bruins defenseman Adam Mcquade be hanging around the Bees organization in an effort to get him involved in a player development role. Craig Eagles wrote an article about this on blackandgoldhockey.com, did a fantastic job, but it was on the tweet from Mark Diver on Twitter that said that he was seen consecutive days in Marlborough, I think at a practice and a game. But I've seen him personally myself as a media member down in the Providence Bruins, traveling down there, seeing that, and working with Chris Kelly, and I believe Don Sweeney was in the same box. So I think there's something coming up with Adam Mcquade, but there's something bears watching. I just want to touch on it real quick because this could be something that the Bruins want to address too, is to have somebody who had a physical career and who was known to be that type of person that would come in and stick up for a teammate at no cost. Maybe this is a training aspect that we need to move forward with when addressing the physicality in front of the net and basically overall defensive structure that Adam learned. So it's just a solid thing, and I think it'd be really good for Adam to get back into the organization.
Yep. Absolutely. I think the way that we'll win our next cup is by putting all the guys from the 2011 cup in the development and coaching roles. So after Savard's kid gets drafted and stuff, Savvy's going to come back and take back over coaching the power play. Like, I'm just kidding. But no, I like Adam Mcquade. I think, he's an old school defenseman in that sense of like, maybe he can help these kids that have been developed in the fast to remember how to slow it down, remember how to keep control, like that's also just putting your body on the line. I mean, very few people put their body on the line with like for their teammates the way Adam Mcquade did. I mean, he's got plenty of broken bones to show for it and plenty of brilliant help outs, it just got to a point where it was time to move on, with injuries and stuff. I don't think it was any hard feelings. Just like for the same reason, some days Zdeno Chara will be the head coach after Bruce Cassidy's done. Chara's probably our next head coach. I'm just kidding. But no, I think that's a good thing. I mean, I love Adam Mcquade. I saw that, but I didn't see it on the list. Well, it's all right. It's a work in progress. We're going to work it out. All right. So #AskBNGs. Now this, I'm going to go from oldest, the first one sent into the newest. So I don't know if you have them, if you're bringing them up on the screen, Mark.
No, I don't have them at all because.
Okay. No, I just wanted to make sure because I didn't want to, if you had them, to click and be out of order. So I'll just read them out loud then. So John Galad asks, since the past couple games is terrible, can we have a list of 3 positive things you saw from this past week? Keep the good vibes. Ha ha ha. Thank you, John. What say you, Mark? Even if you can't come up with 3, just try to think of a couple positives for John.
I liked, even though so many people are criticizing Jack Sednicka, saying he's so soft and this and that, and why the Bruins are drafting people like him. I thought that he looked pretty decent as he worked back into the center position. So that is something to be, I don't know, a positive. Sorry for the short answer, John. I know you're a valued listener, but we're working things on the fly right now. So just trying to get things done before the game.
Okay. I'm just trying to go the best I can. I hope I don't forget anybody because I'm a little off my game today. Sorry, Mark. Sorry, everyone. Okay. Slapshot Sweethearts. Love you guys. They asked, is Euro Vakanainen going to be a liability or an opportunity on... Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say my 3 positives. Sorry, John. My 3 positives, I guess, I do think, like I said, Bjork and Studnicka and some of have been very consistent. I think that Brad Marchand's 300th goal was a positive, and I don't know, Sean. I'm sorry, John. I'm trying to keep it positive. Yeah, no, I only got 2 right now. Sorry. Anyways, the girls asked us, is Euro Vakanainen going to be a liability or an opportunity on the blue line? Shan thinks that he has a ton of potential paired up with McAvoy, which was the original rumor, but played like garbage against the Islanders. So we kind of touched on this earlier, but I would say I don't think he's going to be a liability. He's more of an opportunity. If anything, for depth, that would be my answer to Shan on that one. But I don't know how you feel about that.
I think that he's a work in progress. So, yeah, he's been playing decent down in Providence. He earned the spot up here, so they definitely believe in what he's doing. But I don't think this is bad on him, what he's doing and learning, and maybe taking a little longer to get it all together. So no, I don't think I don't know. I don't want to sound like a jerk or anything like that, but I also don't, want to answer that question. I just don't think that question just seems very impatient to me, that then folks aren't willing to give this player like this a chance or anything like that. So, but this is the way you incorporate players like that into your organization in the future, because, your first round pick, it's got to pan out sooner or later that you're going to be on this team for a while. So, I mean, and I understand that not all first round picks make it, but I believe in this one. So it's not a step back, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's more of an opportunity, if anything, just to try and get some more experience for depth for these kids, because injuries happen and we are notorious for our defensemen going down right before the playoffs. So also, I think it's important for size-wise. We still haven't really solved the being big on the back end. We do have a few bit like Lauzon are a little bigger. I mean, obviously he's bigger than Torrey Krug, but at the same time, he's young and he's still figuring out how to use that, size and speed, just as an example. So, all right. Thank you, Shan. I hope that answered that. All right. Chad McVean, as always, sends us in a couple parters. So we'll go one at a time. Okay. First question. If they can avoid the New York Islanders, can they win the cup right now?
Oh,
I say no. Way in hell can we win?
I don't believe so. And I hate saying that.
Not because I don't want them to, and I'll believe the shit out of it until it doesn't happen, but I don't think so. I don't think we're constructed to be a cup winner unless, we didn't win the cup the year that we had probably the best path with the most solid team we could have possibly had in 2019. We had the hockey gods part the Red Seas, and we had a badass team that didn't, so I have a hard time thinking as constructed now we can do it. At the trade deadline, do we need what's more important, forwards or defense? I will always say defense, because defense wins you cups.
I'm going to agree with that.
Everyone is happy. Everyone is happy. Everyone is happy Chara has played well so far. I am happy he's having a good time in Washington. I'm glad that, again, like I said a couple weeks ago, why can't we all just be all right? You know what I mean? Why can't we still slap each other high fives across the aisle? That's just me. I think I'm very happy to see that he's still getting, having, good amount of minutes, and he's still doing it. I mean, he's a beast, and I'm happy for him. There's been a few times that the last few games especially, I'm not like, dear God, what I would give anything just to have Zdeno Chara's long ass stick on this ice.
No,
But
I'm not like that. I think this defense I'm not saying it's better without him, but this needed to happen. Cut the cord sooner or later on aging veterans. So, inserting the youth it's going to go through trials and tribulations. So no, I do not. I mean, good on Chara for what he's doing and so on in another team, but he's not on the Bruins. So,
next question: how good is Nick Ritchie? Nick Ritchie is so good that I think he's going to catch Ovi chasing Wayne Gretzky for all time.
Boy.
No, I'm just kidding. He's been playing well.
Yes.
I mean, I guess on the scale of how good is he's better than Jimmy Hayes, but not as good as Brad Marchand. That's my.
True that.
So what do you say? You think he's good?
I think he's been doing good. I mean, he's a definite turnaround. There's no doubt about it, and it's good. He's scoring. This is what we need. This is the Nick Ritchie that we all were hoping we were going to get last year, but maybe it took a little bit of adjustment, and that you can't knock on the positives. We're not haters here. We're not going to discredit any player for not doing it, but there's noticeable changes that people saw when he came to Boston last year that were just not Boston type players. What he did in the offseason was a Boston type attitude, and what this organization strives on being is an ultimate professional. And obviously he did that during the offseason. he understood it and brought it to his game in 2021. So, you know, you got to freaking really go for, you know, give it the old do it for the Gipper, man, because he's doing it.
The Gipper. Yeah, I mean, he's playing well. I don't think it's a question of like how good I mean, I don't think he's a league superstar. He's playing well, but he certainly is not the player he was last year, you know, and maybe he does have some of what he expected to be in him, but he's playing well. And yeah, again, I'm sorry, but in contrary to popular belief, I will always say someone's playing well if they are, and he's playing well. I think he maybe gets a little shiny sometimes, but at the same time, like the last few games, I mean, even though he scored a goal and stuff, I mean, overall as a team, we haven't been playing well. So, I mean, you can't also say, oh, he's not good now because he had a bad game, because we're a win as a team, lose as a team kind of team. And we have definitely been losing as a team effort, but I don't put any of that on him. I mean, as for him as a player. Also, too early for Final Four predictions. Boston, Toronto, Vegas, TB ? I do think it's too early for predictions. I do not think Toronto will be in the Final Four. I will predict that, though, because
we haven't even hit our traditional Thanksgiving like gauge when we're in normal season in November with like where we see our playoff picture and where we coming out. But I haven't even been there yet, so we will get on that to the Ask B&G questionnaire.
Yeah, we'll circle back to that. I do have to say, though, as for Toronto, I mean, I think Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay. I think we can, if we can get it together and we can get healthy. I do still think we're probably going to have to do something at the trade deadline. Not something crazy necessarily, but a little shore this up, especially if these holes continue to show. But I still am skeptical about Toronto, because it's not to say anything, but the Canadian division is definitely a high offense, not so crazy defense. So I think it may be a detriment to, say, Toronto, who normally has been used to having to play Tampa Bay or whoever teams like that are solid ass defensively, to have to suddenly in the third round of the playoffs have to come crashing in to a team like that, you know. So I guess it remains to be seen, but we will revisit that, because I agree. I think it's too early, too crazy of a season to see what will happen. Okay, so what was I saying? All right, so Northern Lights asks, who should the Bruins trade Rask to? Just kidding.
I didn't find that funny at all.
Well, of course you don't. You never think it's funny to mess with two. He did actually say just kidding, though. If the Bruins were going to trade current assets to improve their cup chances, who do you think or want to go? Assume that you're trading for like Ekholm or Palmieri type. So not like a stupid trade, but like something that would have some kind of meeting, but without blowing everything up. Well, I would say
appreciate the Ask B&G, but I just don't. I don't know right now. I haven't done enough research on it.
I'm not sure Ekholm is the answer. I know he's kind of the rumor guy right now. Not because he wouldn't be a good fit, but someone like him. I as much as I would love Kyle Palmieri, I think he would do a lot for, you know. I do think that we're going to have to make a move for I mean, no one's getting Victor Hedman, but like maybe going for someone like an Ekholm or someone like that, just to have a little more solid veteran kind of defensive presence to help back there for injuries going. And like, you know, it's not anything against the young kids. They can always, you know, not saying bump them out of the lineup necessarily, but have the choice. You can give people rest. You know, that just means maybe Brandon Carlo, he might be 25, but he also might need a day off. You know what I mean? Or Charlie Coyle, you know, whatever. Not Charlie Coyle, Charlie McAvoy. I don't know. I'm talking defense. But anyways, that's a bad answer. But I know Mark hates when you ask about lineups and trades and stuff. It's not.
Yeah, it's not my thing. I'm not an expert at all that stuff.
All right. So Shannon Walsh, another one from Shan, asks, should we be worried about the mental focus of the young guys? I know I have about it with some of the B&G production team offline, but the Islanders and Rangers games have really shown the risk for teams' depth with the young guys aren't focused. Like I said, I'm not in panic mode about it. I think we're kind of having team issues. It's not just the young people. I also am realistic. Like, I do think that having so many young players is happening exactly what we thought would happen. Like, they're going to get figured out. Like, you know what I mean? It's not a lot of tape to have to watch. How they respond is the more important thing. Like, are these young kids going to do their research? Are they going to listen? Are they going to make the adjustments necessary? Are they going to be willing to take the risk that maybe they don't feel they're ready for, but if Cassidy's telling them to go, you know what I mean? And trust yourself in that way. But for me right now, I'm not currently just worried about the young kids. I'm worried about, maybe it is the mental focus. Maybe, I mean, obviously in this era, it wasn't too much fun in Tahoe kind of situation, but I am getting concerned with we get the high of the really, really good win and we follow it up with 2 really shitty games after. So hopefully we bounce back and this is a better week, but yeah, I don't even know if it's the focus. I think it's maybe just, it's hard to wrap their heads around because of all it's been a couple weeks on this team of just.
Ask B and G's from now on would be posted right up in here, so we both can see the question from now on. And Ask B and G's will also be required to be submitted the night before we record. We normally record on Sundays. We'll let you know when we're going to record and when to fire away for Ask B and G's, but everything's going to be done differently nowadays.
So Yuso Kakanainen asks, did the Bruins get soft after listening to Barbie Girl after they went at Lake Tahoe? I say no, because Barbie Girl, even if you hate that song, by the end of the 3 minutes, everyone's going, come on, Barbie, let's go party. It's just one of those songs. So
not a fan, and I did not do that. I'll tell you that right now.
I think it was the 4-day layoff that's
true.
My thing. So, all right. And Nanook the bitch says 4 of the last 5 games have been poor and shown the D having some problems, the same old problems being our Achilles heel. This may actually be a good in the long term, as those that matter will have a clear idea of what is needed for the next part of the season to compete. What say you? We talked about this. I still think we need more help on the back end. As much as I think that Lauzon and Zaboral and them have been doing fine, like I'm not mad at them. They're exactly what I expected them to be. Maybe even playing up a little more than we thought that they would from the get, like maybe now we're getting towards the half point. I thought they'd be playing, but from the beginning, they've been pretty solid, or at least you can see them wanting to learn, wanting to, and that's how you get better. But I do think that this hole on the defense, and we knew it could be a hole, but it's starting, especially because of injury, to be a substantial hole that's getting hard to patch up. And I, for one, just as a Bruins fan, I feel like we always play this game. We're always patching, and sometimes we don't have the right patches as much as we wish we would, so that's just me on that one.
Yeah, it's just it just need more time. The defense needs more time to get adjusted to what's going on at this level. It comes at you a lot faster than the American Hockey League or any other developmental leagues around the world. So I'm willing to accept what's going on. I know it sucks as Bruins fans, but it's a speed bump, and nobody predicts the future, so you don't know how they respond. So hopefully they respond well today, and then move on from that.
Yeah, hopefully it's just a speed bump and not like a long, road with off a cliff. So we'll see. I doubt it'll go that way, but you also don't want it to go much more than the next few games if it is going to go that way, to kind of start swinging back the other way a little. I just, even if they lose today to the Rangers, I want them to play better. They just haven't been playing well.
Right.
So that is going to be a messy loss. You don't want to get outscored that much, you want it to be close. So again, it makes me long for the days of the shootout goal. No, I'm just kidding. One last one. Miss Maria of Watertown said, after the Bruins week is it time for Don Sweeney to explore a deal for veterans shutdown defensemen? We're saying yes, maybe. I'm not saying trade the farm on it, but I do think that as we go, we've got about another month before the trade deadline or so. I think it's like the 4th or the 14th of April. I can't remember. I think it's the 14th.
Yeah, I don't remember
I think that now's the time. Now's the time that Neely needs to look at the options. What are you reasonably going to give up or get back? And not do the kind of need to pull a trigger, wait until it's getting kind of, I know they do this all the time. I don't mean they wait till last minute, but get in on it now. Have those discussions now. pull something off maybe before the trade deadline as necessary. I feel like we're always caught on the backside of the trade, meaning the trade, although even when it's advantageous to us, we're the ones that get fleeced on some level. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm asking is I do want him to go and get somebody. Again, I'm not saying you need a $10 million defenseman, but we need somebody. And Ekholm or whoever to come in here. And I know that changes who we can protect necessarily and who we can't, but that's the fact of the matter that all teams are going to have to go through. You're going to have to say goodbye to players you don't want to say goodbye to. That's what the stupid draft does. But yeah, that's just me. I think he should be already exploring it if he's not. I think he needs to be exploring that a lot more than forwards at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he I definitely believe that they need to do something on the back end. I still believe in the youth and what's going on, even though, like I said, a speed bump again. But I just think that if you're in that win mode motto now, this is what you have to do. You have to get a veteran defenseman and so on, or somebody that's experienced that in all aspects of the game.
And that can be an overall statement about this team. You need to decide, are we rebuilding? Are we still trying to win now? Or are we just saying, fuck it, and just like going for the future? And that decision has to be made. And if it's not made by the trade deadline this year, it could throw off the whole entire plan for what has been the plan. And nobody wants, again, it's okay. We talk about this, like, swing sometimes is changing up the plan or whatever, like Cassidy's system's great, but maybe you got another secondary tweak system you could try out for a few games if that's necessary, whatever. That is the hashtag AskBNGs. When I put out the hashtag BNG thing, we'll know when we're going to be recording. So we'll have it. I'll start adding like a deadline time to submit them. As always, I love that you send them in. Please do so. Even if your coworker has a question, feel free to send it in to us. Hashtag AskBNGs. Mark, do you have a This Week in Bruins History?
No, we don't. We're just going to be flying right through to the end of this because I got to wrap this up.
This Week in Bruins History on Friday, Brad Marchand scored his 300th goal. So that is the future. This is This Week in Bruins History.
Perfect.
Okay. blackandgoldhockey.com, baby. Go and see all the content. Writers, awesome graphics,
podcast network.
Follow all the writers, follow all the YouTubers, follow everything.
All the information's right there. Please follow that. We'd certainly appreciate it. Might as well just get right into our Patreon. We do have a Patreon account going on. This is to help cut our operational costs of running a sports media company. And for doing that, we ask that our listeners contribute $1 per episode. We're probably going to do 4 episodes a month. So it's only a small investment, $4 to $6 a month and so on. But we're going to be giving away a prize, a Bruins-related prize every week, and a hand-signed jersey once a month. This month, tomorrow's the 1st, March 1st. So in March, we're giving away a good old Irish boy, Terry O'Reilly. So get on board the Patreon, information down below. Donate $1 per episode. Be eligible for me to ship this to you. Beautiful hand-signed jersey. Nice freaking signature. We have a jersey to give away once a month for till at least September of 2021. So we're buying more. So we're getting involved. And we get all our stuff from Bruce Sullivan at Boston Sports and Music Memorabilia. But this week, the Bruins-related item is going to Megan St. Louis. And I meant to do the video, but the video wouldn't allow me to upload it onto StreamYard. So I will work on that for next week. So that is it for the Patreon. I really appreciate everybody contributing. We have I think 40 Patreons, which is really nice. And it helps us buy more, to keep the listener giveaways going. So truly appreciate that. We also appreciate all our listeners, financial supporters, and friends and family who continue to believe in us and move our stuff forward. Retweets, shares on social are awesome. If you can't make a financial investment into our program, retweeting shares on your social media only takes a second, but it's worth every penny to us. We certainly appreciate that. So again, we're getting distracted now because the game is on and we kind of got a little late. But again, I want to apologize for everything that's going on today. Moving forward, we are going to get better. This is just something new for us, and And we try to be perfectionists, and if it doesn't work out, we completely freak out. So anyway, thank you very much, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Can I end this now?
I'm trying to go watch the Bruins game. So
Okay,
yeah,
let's do that. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.
Thanks again for listening to and supporting the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast. Please share the show with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to and leave a 5-star rating for the show on your favorite podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Between shows, help us keep the Bruins talk going by visiting our website, blackandgoldhockey.com, by sending an email to blackandgoldhockeyblog@gmail.com, and by following the show on Twitter @blackandgoldpod.
Peace out.